I heard him say, "I didn't make it," while I was still trying to breathe. That was the moment everything broke. Not the fall, not the impact, not even the sharp crack that shot through my body when I hit the rocks below. No, it was his voice. Calm, steady, certain. I couldn't open my eyes fully. Everything was blurred, spinning, but I could hear him, standing somewhere above me, talking to someone. "She didn't survive the fall," Daniel said. "There's nothing anyone can do now." Let me ask you something. What would you do if the person who was supposed to save you decided you were already dead? I tried to move. Nothing. My fingers twitched, barely. My chest tightened. Each breath felt like pulling air through broken glass. But I was breathing. I was still here, and he knew it. I wanted to scream his name, wanted to tell him I was alive, that I needed help, but my voice wouldn't come out, not even a whisper. All I could do was listen. "You understand, right?" he said again, quieter this time. "It's better this way." Better for who? That's when something cold settled in my chest, colder than the stone beneath me. This wasn't an accident. Fragments of memory flickered in and out like broken glass in my mind. The hike, the silence between us, the argument that never really ended, and then the moment. I remembered standing near the edge, looking out over the valley, feeling him step closer behind me. Too close. Not protective, not careful, intentional. His hand on my back. Not pulling me away, pushing. My heart started racing, panic fighting through the fog in my brain. He left me here. He wanted this. Minutes or maybe hours passed. I couldn't tell. The sunlight shifted, the air turned colder, my breathing got weaker. And then, distant voices. Different voices. "Hey, someone's down there!" Footsteps, urgent, panicked. Everything blurred again. As the darkness closed in, one thought burned louder than anything else. If I survive this, I need to know why my husband wanted me dead. I woke up 3 days later, and my husband was crying beside my bed. At least, it looked like crying. Machines beeped softly around me. My body felt heavy, like it didn't belong to me anymore. My head throbbed with every small movement. And when I finally forced my eyes open, the first thing I saw was Daniel. His hand wrapped around my own, his head lowered, his shoulders shaking. "Elena, you're here. Oh my God, you're here." Tell me something. Have you ever looked at someone you love and suddenly felt like you were staring at a stranger? Because that's what it felt like. I didn't say anything at first. I just watched him, studied every movement, every breath, every flicker in his expression. Because this was the same man who stood above me and told someone I was dead. "You thought I lost you," he said, gripping my hand tighter. "Did you? Or did you think you'd gotten away with it?" Before I could respond, the door opened. A doctor walked in. Dr. Malik. Mid-40s, calm, professional. "You're very lucky. Severe concussion, multiple fractures. Another hour out there, and it could have been very different." Different? As in exactly what Daniel said had already happened? I swallowed, my throat dry. What happened? Daniel answered before the doctor could. "You slipped. I tried to grab you, but it happened so fast." Too fast. Too smooth. Too prepared. I turned my head slightly, ignoring the sharp pain shooting through my neck. "You tried to grab me?" I asked softly. "Of course I did. I would never let you fall." "Wouldn't you?" Something inside me tightened, because for a split second, just one, I saw it again. That moment. His hand on my back. Not reaching, pushing. I decided right then I wasn't going to confront him. Not yet. Instead, I nodded slowly. I don't remember much. And just like that, I saw it. Relief. Quick, subtle, but real. He believed me. Good. Later that day, when he stepped out, my best friend, Maya, came in. One look at my face, and she knew something was wrong. "Elena, what is it?" I hesitated, then whispered, "I don't think it was an accident." Her eyes widened, but she didn't interrupt. "I think he pushed me." Silence filled the room. Before she left, she squeezed my hand and said quietly, "Then we find out the truth. Just act normal." That night, I pretended to sleep, and that's when I heard it. Daniel's voice, just outside the door. Low, careful. "She doesn't remember anything. We're still okay." He thought I had no memory, so he stopped being careful, and that was his first mistake. The next few days, I played my role perfectly. Confused, fragile, grateful to be alive. I asked simple questions, repeated things I forgot, let him explain the same story over and over again. How I slipped, how he tried to save me, how everything happened too fast. And every time, his version stayed exactly the same. Not slightly different, not uncertain. Perfect. Too perfect. Let me ask you, when someone tells the truth, do they sound rehearsed? Or does it come out messy, incomplete, human? Because Daniel sounded like he'd memorized every word. I started noticing more. The way he stepped outside to take calls, how he angled his phone away from me, how quickly he locked it the moment I looked in his direction. And then there was my phone. "Destroyed in the fall," he said. Convenient. But here's where things changed. Maya didn't stop digging. She visited one afternoon while Daniel was grabbing coffee. One look at my face, and she told me everything before she even spoke. "Elena, the trail you fell from," she said quietly, "there's safety rails, strong ones. People don't just slip there." My stomach dropped. "So how did I?" She continued, lowering her voice even more. "And there's something else, something big." I felt my chest tighten. "What?" She hesitated for just a second. "Daniel took out a life insurance policy on you 2 months ago." Silence. Heavy, crushing silence. Do you feel that shift? That moment when doubt becomes certainty? This wasn't an accident. This was planned. Every piece started locking into place. The tension, the distance between us, the sudden hiking trip he insisted on, and that push. I decided to right then I wasn't going to confront him. Not yet. Instead, I nodded slowly. I don't remember much. And just like that, I saw it. Relief. Quick, subtle, but real. He believed me. Good. Later that day, when he stepped out, my best friend, Maya, came in. One look at my face, and she knew something was wrong. "Elena, what is it?" I hesitated, then whispered, "I don't think it was an accident." Her eyes widened, but she didn't interrupt. "I think he pushed me." Silence filled the room. Before she left, she squeezed my hand and said quietly, "Then we find out the truth. Just act normal." That night, I pretended to sleep, and that's when I heard it. Daniel's voice, just outside the door. Low, careful. "She doesn't remember anything. We're still okay." Fix it. Fix me. I froze. Every fear, every suspicion confirmed. And then a sharp creak beneath my foot, the floorboard. The voices stopped instantly. Silence. Heavy. Dangerous. They knew I was there, and suddenly I had nowhere to hide. The silence downstairs wasn't normal. It wasn't confusion. It wasn't hesitation. It was awareness. They heard it. They heard me. My heart started pounding so loud I was sure it would give me away. Every instinct screamed at me to run, but my body wasn't ready. One wrong step, one miscalculation, and I wouldn't make it down those stairs. So I did the only thing I could. I turned, slowly, carefully, and made my way back to my room. Each step hurt. My ribs screamed. My leg nearly gave out twice, but somehow I made it. I slipped under the covers just as I heard it. Footsteps coming up the stairs. Not rushed, not panicked, controlled. That was the worst part. I shut my eyes and forced my breathing to slow, even though my chest felt like it was collapsing. The door creaked open. I felt him before I saw him. Daniel, standing there, watching me. Tell me something. How do you pretend to sleep when you know someone might be deciding whether you live or die? Seconds stretched into something unbearable. Then finally, his voice, soft, almost gentle. You should be resting. I nodded slightly, like I was barely awake. I just couldn't sleep, I whispered. A pause. Too long. Then he stepped closer. I could feel his eyes scanning my face, searching for something, a crack, a mistake, proof, but I gave him nothing. After a moment, he exhaled quietly. Get some rest, he said, and then he left. But here's the thing. He didn't fully close the door. A small gap remained, just enough for him to watch. That's when I knew. He suspected something, and if he confirmed it, I wouldn't get a second chance. The moment his footsteps faded, I moved. Slowly, painfully, I slid out of bed and searched the room. There had to be something, anything I could use. And then I found it. An old tablet hidden in the back of a drawer, forgotten or overlooked. My hands trembled as I powered it on. It took forever, every second stretching like a lifetime, but finally, the screen lit up. I opened the Messages app, typed with shaking fingers. He pushed me. I heard everything. I need help. Sent it to Maya. The seconds after felt endless. Then, a reply. I'm calling the police. Stay calm. How? I barely had time to process it before I heard footsteps again. This time, 2 sets. The door opened wider. Daniel stepped in, and behind him, Lena. They didn't even try to hide it anymore. Lena crossed her arms, studying me like I was a problem to solve. She looks better than expected, she said flatly. No sympathy, no guilt, just inconvenience. Daniel stepped closer to the bed. Do you remember anything yet? He asked. This was it, the moment everything balanced on. Truth or survival? I swallowed hard and whispered, No, nothing. He stared at me, long, deep, searching. Then slowly he smiled, but it wasn't relief, it was calculation. Good, he said quietly. Then we can start fresh. Start fresh or start again. Because in that moment, I realized something terrifying. They weren't done. And then, faint, distant, sirens. Daniel's head snapped toward the window. He heard it too. His expression changed instantly. The calm disappeared, and when he looked back at me, there was something else in his eyes now. Suspicion, fear, and something darker. He walked to the door, closed it, locked it, then turned back to me slowly. Tell me the truth, or this ends differently. Tell me the truth, or this ends differently? That's what he said. But here's the thing. By that point, I wasn't afraid anymore. I was done pretending. I looked straight at him. For the first time since the fall, I didn't hide. I remember everything, I said. Silence. Heavy. Final. Lena stiffened behind him. Daniel didn't move. You pushed me, I continued. My voice shook, but I didn't stop. You left me there and told them I was dead. For a second, I thought he might deny it. He didn't. Instead, he exhaled, like a man who was tired of holding a secret. You weren't supposed to survive, he said quietly. And just like that, every doubt disappeared. He stepped closer, his voice calm, almost detached. We didn't have a choice, he added. Lena finally spoke, her voice sharper now. The insurance was supposed to fix everything. It was clean, simple. Clean, simple. Murder. I felt something crack inside me too. Not fear this time, something deeper. You planned this, I whispered. Daniel nodded once. No shame, no hesitation. The hike, the timing, everything. Then he looked at me. Really looked at me. But you survived, he said. And now you've made this complicated. Complicated. That word echoed in my head as the sirens outside grew louder, closer, real. Lena turned toward the window, panic rising. Daniel! Too late. The front door burst open downstairs. Heavy footsteps, voices shouting. Police, don't move. Everything happened fast after that. They tried to talk their way out of it, but there was nothing left to hide. The insurance policy, the call records, Maya's evidence, my testimony. It all collapsed on them at once. Daniel didn't fight when they took him. He just looked at me like I was the one who betrayed him. Lena broke down immediately, crying, begging, pointing fingers, but it didn't matter because the truth was already out. Months later, the case was closed. Attempted murder, conspiracy, fraud. They got what they deserved. Daniel lost everything, his freedom, his reputation, every lie he built his life on. Lena lost hers too. And me? I got something different. Closure. Healing wasn't quick. It wasn't easy. There were nights I still heard his voice in my head, still felt that moment, the push, the fall, the silence after. But I was still here, and that mattered. One day, I went back to that trail. Same edge, same view. But this time, I didn't stand too close. I looked down, then stepped back. Because this time, I had a choice. I turned away, walked forward, and for the first time since that day, I felt something real. Not fear, not anger, freedom. He said I didn't survive. I smiled slightly to myself, but he was wrong. I didn't just survive. I came back stronger, and this time, my life is mine.